Aho, hanach ni karagiwid, wakatega, wahanangshana egi jige, hamte, hanichawida, hi peen. Hi everybody, Huakate here. Happy to see you again. Welcome to our fourth and final week of the Kinship modules as part of our Hoyte online learning program. We've gone through a lot of information in the last 3 weeks, and we're just going to add just a little bit more to kind of round things out as far as kinship goes for the program. Now, as I've said before, if you haven't already gone through all of the previous modules, I highly recommend you do so. You will get so much more out of this program if you make sure that you have gone through and gotten very well acquainted with all of the material leading up to this. They all build right on top of each other. And that's no different, especially for kinship. A lot of this is not going to make sense unless you've already done and kind of mastered all of the previous kinship materials. So please be sure that you've done that. All right, so I'm trying to keep these short, as I've said before, so I'm going to jump right in and we will get going. So we have the kinship module 3.1, and what we're really going over today is we're looking at the terms for children and grandchildren, nephews and nieces. And the learning targets are all the same. By the end of this module, you will be able to recognize all of those terms. You'll be able to identify individuals using those terms by name and age, whether they're yours, whether they're somebody else's, and you'll also be able to ask people about children, grandchildren, nephews, and nieces, what their names are and what their ages are. All right, so let's start. We're going to build ourselves another family tree. And we have here two sets of parents, and you can see one has a daughter and one has a son. And those are the very first terms that we're going to go into. If you recall from our parents, siblings, children's module, you might already know the term, but let's go in first. The word for daughter is hinuk. Hinuk, and that is daughter. And the word for son is hinink. Hinink. And that is the word for son. So hinuk, hida, or hinink hida, if you use the kinship verb, they're right there. Now, how about grandchildren? What do we do for grandchildren? Well, if these two had gotten married and had kids, we'll start with the grandson. Hichunshke. Hichunshke. And that is a word for grandson. And granddaughter is hichujunk. Hichujunk. And that is granddaughter. So the newish terms that we're learning, again, is hinunk for daughter, hinink for son, hichunshke for grandson, and hichujunk for granddaughter. Now, there's another set of terms that we haven't gone over yet, and those are for nephew and niece. And so if the mother has a brother, that's a dega, as you recall from previous, and if the father has a sister, that's a chui. But what do they call their nephews and nieces? This makes things a little bit easier on us. Hichunshke. Hichunshke is nephew. So grandson and nephew are the same word in Ho-Chunk, hichunshke. And niece, as you might have already guessed, is hichujunk. Hichujunk. So the word for granddaughter and niece are the exact same. Hichunshke for nephew, hichujunk for niece. Okay, so it's just 4 new terms to round out our whole kinship series. The hichujunk, it's a niece, a granddaughter, hichunshke, nephew, grandson, hinunk, daughter, and hinink, son. Now, if you're just talking to your niece or your granddaughter, you typically won't say hichujunk. The more informal term is just to say chujunk, chujunk. And for nephew or grandson, you typically won't say hichunshke, you will say chunshke, chunshke. And there we have it. Relatively simple this week, just 4 new vocabulary terms. Practice with those terms. Incorporate all of the other kinship terms that we learned this week. Try to describe your own family tree or try to describe a fake family tree. If you have the means, ask somebody about their family tree using all of these Ho-Chunk terms. Once again, we'll be having our Zoom sessions Wednesday at 11 a.m. with our eminent speakers. And then Thursday, we'll be having our Zoom session at 11 a.m. so that there's an opportunity to practice with all of the instructors. If you have any questions between now and then, obviously feel free to ask myself or any of the instructors. Reach out to us on Facebook or through our emails. Yeah, Jago and Kita. Hope you guys all have a great week. Honey Chuck Joey.